Toastmaster. I just quickly wanted to address the new members and the guests to let them know what kind of speech this is going to be. Usually our speeches are given behind the lectern or around the lectern and are given by one person. This speech is an interview from an advanced communications manual. It's called Communicating on TV, and it teaches interviewing. So I have Ali to partner with me here as my interviewer, and I'll be the interviewee, I guess. There you go.
The gluten-free, vegan, and stuffed nutrients baked goods, Mediterranean-style panini, and other healthy foods that Ivan prepares at Vitals are the latest learning experience for a man whose journey started nearly a world away. Many years ago, Ivan was practicing traditional folk dances in a small city gym in Sofia, Bulgaria. When curiosity moved him to the room next door, Ivan, take us back to how it all started. What was the first thing that you were exposed to that started the process of an extreme fascination that you now have for a healthy living?
Well, as you said already, I was practicing Bulgarian folk dances in a quite large room, but the room over next door was occupied by this bodybuilding equipment, quite primitive for today's time, but it was okay back then and for what we had in Bulgaria. So I saw these guys and they looked wonderful. I mean, all chiseled, and they were a little bit older than me, but they looked strong and I wanted to look like them. So naturally I was almost 16 years of age and I continued with my Bulgarian folk dances, but I ended up frequenting the room next door as well. And 9 years later, I entered my first contest in Bulgaria, the national championship.
To follow your dreams for a better life and more opportunities, you moved to the United States in 2002. Share with us, how did you get involved in competing in natural bodybuilding on an international level?
In 2002, September, is when I arrived in the United States. A few months prior, I was in contact with a promoter of international chain of contests in the United States. It's called Muscle Mania. And when I arrived in the United States, I called that person and I said, "Hey, Lou, I'm here." And I called him from a gas station. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have anything. And I remember what he said that day. I spoke with his secretary, I guess, and I requested to speak with him. And she said, "Let me transfer you over. What's your name?" I said, "Ivan, from Bulgaria." And he got on the phone, and I said, "Hey, this is Ivan. I'm in the United States. Do you have time to speak with me?" And he said, "Better now than never." For some reason, he did not think that I was serious that I would compete in the United States, even from when I was in Bulgaria and we talked about that. He thought that I was coming here for other reasons. And for the first several months, I was basically busy surviving in the United States. But come 2003, I was stepping on my feet, and I decided to apply for an international contest as part of the Chain Muscle Mania. It was called Super Body in Miami. And I remember I had friends in Ybor City with a pizza shop. And I was there with them, and somebody called me on the phone. I had a cell phone on that phone, believe it or not. And it was him. And he said, "I'm sitting on my desk and I am reading through your application. So you're really going to compete?" I said, "Yes, I am, and I told you a year ago. So naturally you will see me in Miami in a month." I competed that following month in Miami, and I took the fourth place in an international contest. Later this year, I went to Los Angeles to compete in the Muscle Mania World, and I took the third place. The following following year, 2004, I competed in Miami again. I took the third place. A week later, I came back to Tampa and competed in a NBC show, local show. It's called Tampa Bay Classic. And surprisingly to a lot of people in the audience, I won that show being 60 pounds lighter than the rest of the competitors right behind me. And this continued till 2008.
Okay. Later in your career, at one point, you realized that your competitive days were nearing an end. When was that and how did it happen?
2008. I was participating in a panel as a judge of a large national contest in Winter Haven in Connecticut. And I was judging these guys and ladies on the stage, and for some reason it didn't feel natural to even judge them anymore. I felt like some transformation is happening and I'm ready to commit to different things and aims in life, and not to devote my life to vanity of that sort, to just display a physique. And 6 weeks later, I appeared as a contestant in the same stage that I started 5 years ago in 2003, the Super Body in Miami. And then I knew that this was my last contest. And it started that stage, it ended that stage. I made a full circle.
Tell us, how did you get from bodybuilding to baking healthy muffins and snacks?
Oh, that's an interesting story. Now, if you don't know, bodybuilders are on a very strict diet. We have to pre-pack our meals for the entire day because we eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, and it's a very strict calorie protein diet. Now, I was doing that until 2008, but I continued doing it afterwards because to me that's a lifestyle. It doesn't stop with competition. Well, some evenings you don't have the time, you don't have the energy to prepare your bland broccoli and chicken breast in several Tupperware boxes for the next day. So you throw some protein powder in shaker bottles and put these in your bag, and that's how you spend the day drinking your meals instead of eating. It's just as bland and it gets old pretty fast. You want to eat your meals and you want to enjoy them. So naturally I started baking with protein so I can eat my protein shakes, if you wish. I downloaded a recipe that I really liked. I felt like it's speaking to me. It was a recipe for protein muffins from the internet, and I tweaked it quite a few times to suit my needs, but also to taste somewhat better because the first version wasn't all that great. And I didn't mind it, but nobody else would eat it, even my wife. So I wanted to work on it. And at one point I decided that this tastes pretty good. And I was introduced to a local gentleman who worked in an organic kitchen, and he said, let me make these muffins, give me the recipe, and you buy them from us, and you do whatever you want with them. And that's what we did. They sold them to me, and I took them back home, and I put them in packages, I put labels, and I took them to 2 stores that agreed to sell them for me. And I was doing presentations and demos, and it went quite well. So naturally, a month later, I asked them to stop making these muffins so I can go in business on my own. And 6 months later, I had a small bakery.
Okay. Why is the name Vitals? Is there a special reason for it? What does it mean?
Vitals comes from vital, or essential. So vitals is the plural of essentials. It tells you that we put the essential ingredients in the baked goods that we make. That's what's the main difference between what we do and traditional bakeries. Now, if you ask me why the double I, when I went to somebiz.org to register a company with just the plural of vital, the website said, well, that's taken 200 years ago, so you have to come up with something. And I had to play with the word. So I could have added double T, I could have added another V, but I decided to add a second I, because with the second I can spell my wife's name in this word. Her name is Sylvia with I-S-I-L-V-I-A, and this was a sign of me honoring her for being my fellow partner and a pillar in life.
Yvonne, thank you very much for this interview. It was a pleasure hearing your story.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Like that little boy who stood filled with curiosity as he watched the bodybuilders work out in Bulgaria, Yvonne again strives for something different. This time to grow vitals, and through it expose as many people as possible to healthy eating and a healthier being. What Yvonne said in another recent interview for the St. Pete Times perfectly sums up all of this that he says. I used to call myself a bodybuilder. Now I call myself a healthy lifestyle advocate.